Hey all, welcome back to episode 6. We're in the middle of the main batch of lamb at the moment, and it's been pretty flat out the last few days. Now we are enjoying it, but you'd know you're lambing. It's, you do, the old tiredness kicks in. But so this podcast is going to try and keep the lambing chat to the minimum, and a few bits to get into. So coming up today, a couple of questions I was asked recently. Questions I asked on Instagram, and a little chat about Vane as well. So I'm going to start off with a couple of questions I was asked recently, and basically I was asked what's the best sheep breed. Now the person asked me, they said, look, we've Suffolk sheep, we're not scanning as well as we should, you know, we're not overly happy with them. So kind of have a think about it, and I said, well, maybe the mule or whatever it might be. But what I'm going to do is over the coming weeks, I'm going to create a number of polls on Instagram. I'm going to let other people have their say on different types of breeds, which is compare them and what they think is better. And then I'm going to put the whole lot together into the podcast and have a chat about it, because there's no point in me saying X, Y, and Z and then other people going, you're completely wrong. So I'm going to give people their opportunity to have a chat about and see what they think. The other thing was asked was about replacement Joe Lambs. What's the best to keep? Would it be better keeping the best Joe Lambs or their twins? What would it be better keeping? So my answer was simple. What's your market? You keep the breed of Joe Lambs that suits what you're breeding the sheep for. If you're breeding it for factory, the breed that gives you the best lambs at the factory. If it's for selling on breeding Joe Lambs to the next person, then you keep that breed. But also, as regards the twins and the singles, the best lambs, if you don't keep twin Yo lambs for your replacement flocks, very hard to build up a high level of twins in your flock. Because there's a fair chance that you're going to buy a ram somewhere along the way that'll be a single ram. And that's not knocking ram breeders. That's a simple fact that ram breeders are looking at getting the quality of the ram to the sale, not necessarily whether it's twins or singles or triplet. They just want to get the best rams they can have into the sale, and I suppose, who can blame them, really. So that's what I was saying to them, was just I concentrate on what you want, and I said that I wouldn't focus too much on the best. I focus on what your market's for and what you need. But again, that's something we're going to chat about more later in the episodes of the podcast. So, little thing about Vane, when we were up in Hilltown a few weeks ago, we done the stock judging, and it was good crack. But I got a message on Facebook that Elaine came second. So I never said nothing to her and gave him the address, and basically they sent down the ticket to say that she came second. She got 300 points in the junior and joint second, and she got 20 quid for herself. So she was chuffed, and really made her day. And I think the fact that she came second more so than 20 quid, but it really shows how big of an impact it had with her, because at the weekend she was there. Oh, I'll buy the Chinese. I'll buy the Chinese, but he said no, put your money away. But like, it just showed how much of a boost they had given her, which I suppose is the same for any kids, really. Like, they just want to be encouraged. And then recently I got a message from a guy that I got pet lamb off of last year, and he said he had pet lamb he wanted to get rid of, and I said I'd take it on. I'm sure I hadn't told Yvain. So we were moving a few sheep, and Yvain said to me, we were talking about pet lamb she had last year, popcorn. I said, you're talking about popcorn. Right, I said, Vance, I need to tell you something. I said, Popcorn's cousin had a lamb, can't rear the lamb, and the owner wants us to know will we take it. She's like, no, Daddy, no. We have enough sheep. Let's think about it. So we kept doing what we're doing. Then we went back up later on. We were moving a few sheep, and I just said to her, right, what are you thinking? And she said, well, I'm not sure, she says, but I think we'll have to go get it. So we went and we got it and brought it home, and she named it Lily. And Lily's a good pet lamb, but it's mad. You couldn't believe how well they've got on since. Like Lily now, out around the shed every day, every evening. She feeds her before school. She's up around the evening time. She's running around. She was up in the bale of hay the other evening, and the lamb was up, lying on top of her, curled up on a ball on top of her. And like the thing is, you could buy the child whatever presents you want and that, but I think the couple of months of that she's going to get with that pet lamb will be worth more than any toys that she'll get. I think it'll be a great experience for her having her own lambs again and interacting with them, because it is important. I'm sorry if I yawn or come across a bit tired, but as I say, we are lambing and I'm not used to sitting down for so long. So the Instagram question I asked was, what's the best investment on your farm in recent years? Now, for us, quad and hanging gates. I didn't know myself till I got the quad. Could not believe how much of a difference it's made. But at the same time, now that I've hanged the gates as well, I've realised, well, I need to hang more gates. And so I've been kind of looking at the lamb. There's a few places where we should be hanging the gates and we're not, and kind of going to go this year now. Maybe widen the gap a little bit more. They can get the quad through it and a few bits of that just to make it a smidgen easier. And look, it's only a small thing, but I'll have to plan out now in the summer and have a real sit down and see what's happening. So I got a lot of responses back, and I have a page of responses back here. I'm going to read everyone's response out because I think it's important, because they took the time to respond to me. Well, I won't name them because I didn't write down their names because I don't think it's really necessary. So the first one we got was a bobcat, and I have to say a bobcat's not something that I ever thought of. That would be something that'd be good for a farm. But I done a YouTube clip on the bobcats, on a few of them, and they're a deadly little machine. Like they really are. Like they're a good little machine. But as I presume they would be expensive, and I presume it would not pretend, it would be specific to your farm more so. So I thought it was a really good one to talk about, but it was different. You know what I mean? Completely different to all your responses, but it was a good one to see. Um, then we got cordless clippers, portable meal bins, calving gate, and lockable head barriers. And this was a cattle person. And cordless clippers sounds small, but it is, because they also said small things are important, and they're 100% right. Because if you can keep getting through the small things, eventually you'll keep chipping away at the block and you'll get the jobs done. That the big jobs won't be on then, and they're 100% right. Reclaim scrub ground, again, probably something we don't do enough of. And I'm probably guilty of it too. But a very important thing to do. Reclaiming ground is important, and you know I suppose like the person that would have done it, like there would have been a good cost to it as well. Like it's not something that would have been done cheap. Um, Galvanized hurdles and proper gates. Now, the amount of times this has come up, there's a few of them has put in gates and galvanized hurdles and stuff like that. So it kind of shows that people want to make things easier for themselves, and it's very, very important. I think that is a good way to go. I got one a sheep wire with a smiley face to keep them in, and that might sound like a tongue in cheek, but actually it's brilliant because it's true. Like, how many places do you see the wires hanging down? That's just normal farmers, just ground that just gets down, deteriorate over years. But then, how many farmers do you see that have cattle and sheep, and they fence one section for cattle and one section for sheep, so they can't put the sheep on the other section, which to me makes absolutely no sense. And so it is important because, like, there's a lot of fencing going on recently, and you know, a lot of clips on YouTube of fencing, and I watch bits and pieces, and it's nice to see how they work because you can always learn a few little bits and pieces. A wrapper handling system and a quad. And like, a handling system is, I suppose it depends on where you are. We'd be lucky. We have a lot of pens set up, but if you don't and you're moving from place to place, handling system would be brilliant. Like, and again, simple things, but very good. Sheepdog. Now, that might sound, well, that comes standard with sheep farming. There's an awful lot of farmers who don't have sheepdogs and certainly don't have good sheepdogs. Like, there is a vastly difference in a sheepdog going to get a sheep in off a hill and a lad run around the fields to get in 10 sheep. The difference is unreal. And just kind of on that point, like, we've Belle, and Belle is probably, for hunting sheep and all, she's the worst dog. She is the worst dog we have. She can't do it. Like, she can drive them forward, but she can't go left, right, or anything like that. But yeah, she's the hardest working dog on the farm. She's up with me first thing in the morning to go check the sheep. She's there till the evening time. Like, there's nights I have to make sure she doesn't come out with me because she's that tired. She was sitting on the back of the quad asleep, nodding off. And it sometimes comes home, we have to make her tea and toast for breakfast. But even though she can't do a lot of jobs, when I leave her sitting, as I sit there, stay, and leave her sitting there, when I want to move a young lamb, the yo won't go over that way. To just walk over to the gate and down the way I want her to go. She has a lot of uses, and she's there with me. And I know if I park the quad in the middle of it, leave it there, walk off, do what I have to do for an hour, come back, she'll still be sitting there. And when we're out in the tractor and we're off places, she's with me. She's great company. But I think we underestimate the value of the sheepdog. And it's kind of the value of the sheepdog to the person that owns it. Even though sometimes the quality of the dog mightn't be as good, it's the value to the person. And one thing I would say with the sheepdogs, they are unbelievable. I think they're the best friends you'll ever have. Then water feeders for individual pens and hanging gates. And again, hanging gates. But water feeders for individual pens are, I would imagine, I'd put that up as, for any sheep farmer, as a top 5 things to have, or something very handy like that system, because carrying buckets of water and things that, to me, is just stone age at this stage. You have to have a little bit better of a system. Okay, you mightn't have it in every section, but at least have some sections where it's bang, it's set up, it's done. Because you could build it up over time, but to me, that's absolutely a brilliant thing to have, and it's a good way going forward. Gates, dipping pond, and in compassion for yourself when things goes wrong. And I suppose the race, dipping pond, yeah, they're normal things, but compassion for yourself when things go wrong is a very important thing, because we do put ourselves under pressure as sheep farmers and farmers in general when we're running around after stock and trying to get lambing done, and long hours, late nights, early mornings. And I suppose we don't take that step back for ourselves and give us, I suppose, not a bit of meaning, but give us the time to, okay, right, going wrong here, step back, we go ahead a different way. So I thought that was a very good point. Race for sheep, starting off stocking yows. Now, when it comes to stock, that's all the ones I've done. That's the only one of that has mentioned stock. No SAS ram, no real good rams, nothing but rams. Yes, every year we're told buy the best ram, do this for rams, that for rams. So it was good that one person came with stock, but I have a page of things for investments. There's only one ram, only one thing with stock, which kind of surprised me a little bit. I did think some people put in an SAS ram or something like that, but look, they didn't. I'm years on it. So then another one was a good pair of wellies with a smiley face, and even though it sounds funny, we walk day and night in our wellies, probably around the fields and the muck and the way. If they don't fit you right or they're uncomfortable and they cut your heels, sure, just going to make your life a nightmare. And again, simple but really important. Then we have the last one was a slat shed, and I suppose a slat shed, it depends on your system. Now, the guy that said it to me, I'm going to get in touch with him and go and see if I can go down and have a look at it, because I think I'm about 2 hours away from me or thereabouts. But it is something that I'll be interested in seeing myself, because it's always been something that I've been interested in for our sheep shed. Could we do it, or would be a way to do it? So definitely going to go down and have a look and see what they're doing. But he said it was a game changer, so I'll find out a bit more about it later on. And I suppose the point of all these suggestions and all that, just for if you're listening, that you can go, okay, I'm at home here now. What can make my life easier? And all of these suggestions can. And again, it's a good thing, but look, we can only invest so much. You have to get a return out of the sheep. So these are just little suggestions to keep things along the way. And another thing, I was talking to a friend of mine, and it's that's the best way of describing it. He's in a completely different business to what we're in, and we were talking about apprentices and showing people how to learn stuff, and we had a conversation about it, and we how to describe it. We didn't come up to any conclusions or anything like that, but because you have to, when people are trying to learn a new job, you have to show them, you have to teach them. And I was kind of looking at it going, I seen on the people advertising for lambing jobs and things. And I said to myself, you know, that's a very skilled, specific thing. I know if you can lamb, you can lamb. And if you're good at it, you're good at it. But go into a new unit, new setup to do it. It kind of brought me back to my vein a little bit. And she was out with me the next day after me and the guy had a chat. And it just really resonated with me. Like I asked her to do something for me, and she looked at me with a blank face, didn't register with her. Then I had to bring her over so far, and I showed her I wanted to. Then, grand, she done it in 5 minutes, back in 2 minutes. But I just said to myself, now that I've shown it to her once, next weekend when she's helping me, she'll know what to do. But she'll know what to do next year and the year after, because it's going to be hers. Her interest is there. She's going to be in it. And I just suppose that anyone who has another next generation coming ahead, it is a big bonus if you have the helping with lambing, and even if it's just filling a bucket of water, even feeding pet lambs, doing little things, it really does give you a good boost rather than having to get in help. But then if you have to get in help and you've big numbers, but then that's a whole different ballgame. You have to do it like. And it's just a little point from two of us talking that I thought was interesting. You know, you've businesses are hiring people and it's their job in they have to do the job specifics. Or farmers, the next of kin, or a family member help you out, and or a friend will help you out, and it's a different circumstances, and you have to hire pay someone, again, that's a different ballgame. It is a job, but nowadays when I've seen like people looking for lambers in Scotland, and you just think to myself like that, opportunities is there for people to go and learn see different things is amazing and really, really good to see. Like, um, now the last thing I'm going to talk about, it's kind of a funny thing, really, but it's I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it really. I had a few lambs, last few lambs left, and I just said I was going to keep some for the kill for the house, and I just the one lad was a horn lad, and every time I went up, he out over the gate, back in the gate, out over the gate, and he wasn't like that for a while. Then it's right, I've had enough of you. I'll bring you to the factory, and I got him to the factory. So I was coming back from the factory, and I pulled in to have a cup of coffee. So having the cup of coffee, in front of me was a field, and there was two lads. They were farming. They were farming sheep, and I just was sitting there watching them for a minute, and they were moving sheep down through a gate, and then with a jeep and a dog, and then the other lad walked back up the field, and there was a yow and I think there was a couple of yows and lambs up in top corner. He was moving them or something. He wants to move them down, but we brought one down, and the yow ran back up the field, and she ran back up like like a bullet. And I was just looking at going. Then the other lad came up in the jeep, and he hopped out of the jeep, and two of them were talking. I was looking at them going, they were in bright yellow clothes. I just said to myself, if a spaceship came now, they wouldn't take you because you're that bloody bright. How would you expect a yow that has a freshly lambed lamb to follow you down the field and a dog running down around the field at the bottom as well? So I just said to myself, like, what does people wear when they're out lambing? Like, because our sheep at home, Yvain, the odd time is wore a bright pink or a bright red top to the field, and the yows, you can hear them snort. I had to get her one day to take it off because the yows suddenly went mad in the field with it. Like, I'd always wear darker clothes and whatever I'm wearing before the lambing, that's what I wear the lambing. I'd never wear a new top to start off lamb on or a new trousers or anything like that. I'd always keep it dark. And I just said to myself, when I seen this, I said to myself, like, if ever the department said, oh, when you're working with stock, you need high vis on or something like that, I think it'd make a disaster of farming, especially sheep farming. But just something for people to think about, like, what is what would be the benefits of wearing the big freaking yellow coats? Just I found it funny, and it was a little thing that we were sitting there going, like, I couldn't understand it. Just it boggled me, and they left the sheep there on top of the field and they drove off. Then I went on, had to get home to get things done, but so I don't know what they're doing with themselves. But I just thought it was a bit funny, these big bright coats, and they were big long coats as well. And I just said to myself, for me, no, I couldn't be going around the sheep field with that on. And so look, it was funny things. And the thing is, you don't want to see anybody getting hardship or anything like that, but like sometimes you just have to sit back and go, I do wonder. So look, that's kind of the podcast for today. As I say, we're middle of the lambing. Going pretty well. Yes, we have lost a few lambs. Yes, we have had lost a few yows. Yes, I am tired. Yes, there has been bits of problems. 90% of it's gone well. I want to see how the rest of them land before I kind of start talking too much about it, because with the different breeds, there's a few different things that I'm noticing, and it's kind of interesting to see. But one thing I will say is we have our twins on one field, and I let them in the morning to get fresh grass onto another field, and then I let them back out in the afternoon, and I give them a bucket of cobs. And I give them a bucket of cobs all around the big area, and I keep a few. There's always two left that are slower coming out through the gate, so I always keep a few for them. That's the one advantage of the cobs, is that you get to, if you're in a truck, everything be gone. So these the cobs, you can throw it to them, and even though it throws them, they're two horn jobs. They look at me, go like, really, like we can get our own, like But one thing I've been watching with the yows is after I feed them the cobs, if I walk away from, give them a few minutes, the yows all splinter in different directions. There's a gang of them, don't move at all. They just stay where they are. There's a couple more, and they nearly queue up for the water. And then each time there's the owls goes off to get a different mineral bucket. Now they've loads of different mineral buckets, so they go and they eat a different bucket. And I have noticed that with one bucket, and there's two yows in particular goes to this one bucket, but none of the buckets are empty yet. So between the grass, the cobs, they haven't at the mineral buckets, so there's no drain on the system. And I basically it's down to the grass, and the cobs is a good help. But it's just mad to watch them for that few minutes after they've eaten what they do. But also, I'm kind of not promoting the cobs, but just talking with the cobs, they if you ever watch the yows when they're eating, and particularly an old yow, they scoop up the ration or the nuts, and there's half it goes here and half it goes there, and they look at you and they're chawing away. Where when the yow she can pick up one cob, and she has to chew that cob and eat it. So for one mouthful of ration, she's probably getting half the ration. But for one cob, she's getting the whole cob. And it's kind of it's a small little thing, but it's a good little thing. But even though I am tired, I have to say now, and the last 2 days have been tough going. All in all, I'm enjoying it. I did do a live video one day, and I went to do it the next day, and I was just too much on. So I will do another one fairly soon. But I won't put, if I'll go live this time, I'll stay live a little bit, but I won't be putting it up on YouTube. It'll just be live for whoever's there. But just see, like I've done a few live. I want to do a few lives, and I hope to do a few more during the summer, like so. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to wrap it up now, and I'm going to go and I'm going to get a cup of tea, and then I'm going to go to the field and see what's awaiting me and what surprises is there for tonight. So again, thank you all very much for listening. If you're on Instagram, make sure that you key into the polls in over the next coming week, so we can have a good system. And again, share the podcast, tell your friends that it's there, because I have to say the response has been fantastic, and it's good to hear. So listen, gonna leave you, and thank you very much, and I'll chat to you all very soon.